All right. So, welcome to the Cheer Coaches Conference call. Um, Cheer Coaches call. I just wanted to create a space for us as cheer coaches to ask questions and learn from each other because it never fails. If you go into like the forums, you'll ask, hey, how you guys do your demerit system? Or hey, what do you guys do when you're choosing uniforms? Or what's your favorite fundraiser? Like there's all these questions and there's all these solutions out there. So I just wanted to centralize it all in one place, get us all together so that we can all kind of share solutions and have easier seasons because we don't get to go to conferences like football coaches do or basketball coaches. Like that's just never been in our cards, right? So I thought this way was a great way to learn from each other. I'm Coach Zoe. One thing that I know about really well is tumbling. Actually, I'm really good at skills, right? So stunting, tumbling, jumps, like the real more technical aspect, I'm really good at. Obviously, I've done choreography and things like that, but I really like to focus on skills. So I'm going to give you guys a skill. And then once we get over all the skills, which will take like 15 minutes, then I'll open the floor to kind of ask questions, answer questions, and just come up with creative solutions to have a better, more productive season. Today, we're going to talk about coaching a back handspring. Okay. So what if I told you that coaching a back handspring was easier than you thought? Right? What if I told you that you could coach all the tumbling you ever wanted and be fairly good at it in about 6 weeks? Today, I'm going to show you how to do just that. So welcome to the Cheer Coaches Call. I'm your host, Coach Zoe. Like I said, I'll probably start these all out by just giving y'all what I know about skills, little tidbits, little nuggets, and then open the floor for questions and stuff. So the thing about a back handspring and about all tumbling is that you're using your body to maximize and control the flow of energy, right? That's all we're trying to do. When we're doing a back handspring, there's really two things you need to worry about, right? So let's break down the word back handspring. Back, right? Both the energy and the body is going to be going backwards. And it's important that your athletes understand two things when it comes to the backwards portion of the skill: how to jump and how to flex. Well, they have to figure out how to jump backwards and how to jump in a horizontal position. And the problem with jumping backwards and jumping backwards into a horizontal position is it's not natural. We don't do it anywhere else. Maybe when we're jumping in our beds at the end of a long day, maybe when we're jumping into the pool, but unless you're like from Florida or California, that's really a seasonal thing, right? So those are the first two major hurdles and roadblocks that athletes need to get over in order to build confidence in their back handspring. So the number one solution is just going to be like progression. Do your bridge ups, do your back bends. That's going to build bridging up is going to build confidence being upside down. Back bends is going to build confidence going backwards. Learning your back walkover is going to build confidence being upside down without your feet touching the floor, and then learning your back handspring, right? Like that's the simplest thing, but that's not necessarily easy. So the next thing you want to do are jump backs. Okay. And jump backs are really what they sound like. The athlete is just jumping back onto a surface. Now, me personally, I like to do these onto like resi pits or nope, I love resi pits, but sometimes you can also do them to a group, right? So I would try to explain it, but let me just show y'all what I mean by jump back. So I'm going to share my screen and let's go. And of course, now everything is all over the place. I need to move this. Here we go. So for the jump back, this is what it looks like. All right, so that is the jump back drill. Let me catch this. Is there is there supposed to be audio? Yes, there's supposed to be audio. Oh, is there supposed to be audio on the video? Um, yeah, but it wasn't really that necessary. So pretty much for the concept of the jump back was when I jumped back onto that mat, right? So you're gonna sit back like you're sitting on the toilet, right? So like really putting your weight backwards, and when you feel yourself falling, when the athlete feels themselves falling, they're just going to jump back, taking up as much space as possible. What I tell people is to jump and reach back for the wall behind you. Um, and they're just going to practice taking up space because it's scary to jump that far. And they're just going to practice taking off at that angle. The angle is crucial, right? So another way you could do the same drill is having that person jump into a group, right? So imagine a main base, a side base, and a back spot. They can do the same thing. You know, maybe they'll start 6 inches away, jump back into the group. Then 12 inches away from the group, jump back into the group. 18 inches away from the group, jump back into the group. 18 inches, 24 inches, that's about as far as I would go. I really wouldn't do it any further than that. Personally, because I know everyone's different, every group is different, every team is different. Personally, I would prefer if you did it with somebody at the main position and the side position and no one at the back position, because when that tumbler throws their hands back or they're jumping back with a lot of force, I just don't want the back spot to get hit inadvertently, get hit with a hand, get slapped in the face, get hit with a head. So if you can do it without a back spot, excellent. If you can't do it without a back spot, or not even a back spot, it could be anybody, but without someone at that, with someone at that back spot position, do it, but just really have both the tumbler and the back spot aware that there's a lot of moving body parts and just to maneuver around them. So if you just joined us, this is the Cheer Coaches Call, where I wanted to gather coaches, share information, whether it's, how we order our uniforms, who our favorite vendors are, where do we find choreographers and things like that. Or if you wanted to learn, how to put up a prep, how to put up an extension. I sent a video out last week about Ruby slipper pull-ups. I just want us to be able to share information. And right now we're going over back handsprings and we have about 5 minutes left, right? So like I said, 2 things you want to be able to do in a back handspring is jump backwards, and then you need to be able to flex, okay? So that's where the second part of that skill comes, the second part of the word in that skill comes in, back hand, right? Now, when you think of hand, you think, oh, because your hands are touching the floor, but I think the hand actually stands for the fact that we have to jump backwards and get into a handstand position. And so what the tumbler needs to understand, side note, if I say flyer, I mean tumbler. I apologize. But what the tumbler needs to understand is as they make impact with the floor, they have to flex their muscles. Okay. And the reason is because we want to, remember, control and generate energy. Remember, the whole purpose of tumbling is to control and generate energy with our body, right? And so if you think about, let's take it off of the body, right? Let's think about something that we know pretty well because we were in 3rd grade, electricity, right? Electricity cannot travel without a circuit. If you cut along the line of a circuit, the electricity will stop wherever the line is cut. Okay, when it comes to kinetic energy, the energy that we build with our bodies, the energy stops when the muscle is no longer flexed, when the muscle is relaxed. And so what happens is if you jump backwards and you are relaxed through your shoulders, all the energy is going to stop at your shoulders. And that's when people say, oh, wow, that hurts, right? So really need to make sure that they stay strong, flexing their entire body from fingertip to toes. All their muscles need to be flexing. That's going to make sure that the energy is traveling through them most efficiently. Okay. So, how do we solve for this part of the problem? Okay. First of all, have a good handstand. Second of all, get a good cartwheel. The handstand comes before the cartwheel, right? And then get a good round off. And when I say a good round off, that the athlete has a part of the round off where they block through their shoulders, they snap down, and there's a point in time where their hands and their feet are both off the floor simultaneously, right? That's really going to show that they have an understanding of pushing away from the floor, which is what they're going to have to do in their back handspring. So bonus points. If they get a back walkover, that's excellent. Do you need a back walkover? No, especially at the high school level. If they've never tumbled before, I'm not going to put them through that. If I have somebody at 6 years old, I'm going to make sure they learn, right? Mainly because at 6 years old, they don't necessarily have the muscle development to go from round off to back handspring. But as high school athletes, especially if we're conditioning the way we should be, I'm fairly certain that, you know, if they can do their round off, they can do their handstands, then they have the musculature and the muscle ability, the physical ability to do their back handsprings. Okay. And so why do I make them do a back walkover, right? Well, not obviously. Some people are like, well, that's the natural progression, but why? The reason I make them do, I'm sorry I'm talking so fast, guys. I'm really trying to speed through this. The reason why I ask them to do back walkovers is because the back walkover proves that the athlete has the body awareness in space and the upper body strength to do a back handspring. Okay. It's one thing to have the muscle to do it, but it's another thing to have the wherewithal to know where you are at upside down, traveling through space, to execute it correctly. Right. Side note, I'm really a nerd about tumbling. Body awareness in space is also called proprioception. So if I say proprioception, just means like where you are, right? So we have the back in back handspring. You have to be able to jump backwards in a horizontal position, flexing your body. Then we have the hand, where you're still flexing your muscles, making sure that the energy is traveling through your body. And then the last part is the spring. And so with the spring, that just means that you are bouncing out of your skill. You're snapping out of your handstand position. So what is a snap down? I will show you the video, and then since the audio is struggling, I will kind of talk about the two parts of the video. Oh, wait. I need to share my screen first. Sorry about that, guys. That's that, and here's the snap down. How's it going? Welcome to Distal Point Tumbling, and I am Coach Zoe. This is our round off series, okay? We're gonna have a 4-part video series on the best ways to execute your round offs. First thing you need to understand how to do a round off is how to do a snap down. Now, a snap down or a snap up, some coaches like calling them snap ups because we don't want you to think about going down. A snap up is when you are in your handstand position and you're actually gonna overarch. You're gonna go past that handstand position. You're gonna tap your toes back to that handstand position. Once you're on your way down, you are going to block through your shoulders. Now, what's a block? I'm telling you a lot of things here. A block is when you extend through your shoulders and flick through your wrists. That's a block, okay? So we're gonna get into that handstand. We're gonna tap our toes, which is just like a dolphin kick. We're gonna tap our toes. We're gonna block through our shoulders. And from there, we're going to engage our glutes. We're gonna squeeze our glutes and we're gonna keep tapping our toes till we land back on the ground, okay? Starting to lunge because that's how snap downs work. Now, this is a really tall surface. Okay, you want to start on an elevated surface, but this is an extremely elevated surface. The higher the surface, the harder it is to get in a handstand. But the higher the surface, the easier it is to snap down. Now, before I snap down, you need to be in a hollow body for the entire snap down. Do not pike, do not bend, do not let go of your core. You need to stay in that hollow body. And you need to land with your shoulders up. So, here we go. We're going to go here. We're going to handstand up. We're going to snap. And if you do it correctly and you stay tight, you should have a rebound back up and then land. All right. So I was taking notes just to make sure that I got the important parts of the audio, right? All right. So if you just joined us, we are going over the parts of a back handspring that we really want to understand if we want to coach it to our athletes. So pretty much what I talked about in the audio was like you need to be able to block, tap, and snap. What does that mean? So a block is when you just push through your shoulders and extend through your wrists, keeping your arms locked. We want to keep our arms locked because energy travels most efficiently with a straight locked body part. Okay, so we're going to extend and push at the same time. That's a block. Okay, so what's a snap? A snap is when we tap. Okay, let's slow down. We're going to go in our handstand and we're going to go past our handstand, right? So if this is straight up, we're going to go past our handstand. Our toes are going to make we're going to make a big arch with our spine, and then we're going to drive our toes. And that drive of our toes is called a tap. So first we're going to tap our toes, and then we're going to block through our shoulders, and that creates a snap down. All right. Your job as a coach is to kind of find that right balance of how tall can I go so they can understand how the motion works without making them feel crummy about not being able to kick up into a handstand, right? And you'll kind of work with that. I use panel mats a lot of the times. Those are about 8 inches off the ground. If somebody's like elite or has been tumbling, then 12 inches off the ground is not a problem, right? And so when you connect, let's bring it all back, right? When you connect the jumping back into a horizontal, can y'all see behind me? I'm gonna write some stuff down. Is that okay? All right. So for the back handspring, we're going to jump into a horizontal position. That's the back part. From there, they're going to reach to the ground into a handstand position. You know what? I'm going to number these. 1, 2. They're going to reach for the ground. Reach for the ground with their hands, lifting up to a handstand position. Okay. Now, I don't know if you have imaginations. I don't have an imagination. That's how I know it's built for tumbling, because the only thing I can see in my head is how the body moves in space and proprioception and stuff. It's the only thing I can see. But you asked me to move a shape, no idea. Okay, so imagine we just jumped backwards, okay, and then we reach for the floor, and now we're lifting up into that handstand position, right? That's what we're gonna initiate. Once our hands touch the floor, we need the floor to help to. Ooh, I've never said this out loud before. We need our hands to touch the floor to generate we're going to use our hands as a lever, or no, our hands help us use our body as a lever to generate energy in the tapping motion. I don't know if that made any sense, but it's clear as day in my head, right? So you're going to jump backwards into your handstand. Once your hands touch the floor, that's when you initiate the tap. And it's the only time you can initiate the tap because now your body's a lever. Yes. Okay. So you're going to initiate the tap position. For step 3, initiate tap. And snap down. Once you do that, you have a back handspring. Now, is that an oversimplification? No, it's a simplification because it is a lot easier than sometimes I think we give ourselves credit for. But that's how you do a back handspring. I would love to stop talking. However, I have a video on how to spot a back handspring. Do we want to see that, or do we want to ask questions? Video. Okay. Cool. That's cool. Let's go here and oh wait, I keep forgetting to actually let me find the video real quick and then I will share my screen. I appreciate you guys being here. Like I said, this is the cheer coaches call where it's just coaches helping coaches, right? Um, giving us an opportunity to share solutions, share ideas, and see just what everyone else is doing across the country and across the state. See if those ideas will work well with our groups, our cheer squads. On the video, I'm going to share my screen. All right, what's up? Coach Zoe here, and today we are going to talk about spotting. Okay, so let's talk about spotting your back handspring. I have hope here. Hope, do you know how to do back handspring?
Yes.
No, you don't. Okay. She's lagging. She does not know how to do back handspring, okay? So this is the worst person to try to do a back handspring with, but the best person to teach how to spot a back handspring because she's going to do everything in her power to mess it up, okay? And that's our job as a coach to not let her kill herself on her way to doing her back handspring. So let's talk about what our hands do. Okay, first of all, you want to spot on the side that your predominant hand is on. So if you're left-handed, you want to be on the left side of the athlete, and if you're right-handed, you want to be on the right side of the athlete. So your dominant hand is going to be the lift hand, and your subservient hand, I don't know what this word is, the sub hand is going to be the hand that gets us around. So you have one hand on the back, one hand on the back of the legs, and then they're going to go. So like do a back, jump backwards, jump. Jump, do a back handspring. Good, right? So we're gonna use this arm to go up and this arm to go around. Boom. And we're spotting a back handspring. Now, when you're spotting the back handspring, what most athletes do is they kind of just plop. They kind of just plop down. So you really need to be aggressive about getting this back arm around so that you don't tear your shoulder. Because if you get hurt, you can't spot and then nobody gets better, okay? And then what you want to focus on, it's really hard to watch the skill and spot the skill, so I never try to do both. They're like, what I do wrong? I'll just videotape it like I'm videotaping this and then go back to it, so don't try to do both. Really, all you want to do is make sure they don't land right here, okay? Because they love to sabotage things. So as we're going into the back handspring, why are you looking at the camera? You don't need the camera. I need the camera. I'm teaching. All right, they're going to do a back handspring. Go ahead and do a back handspring. Boom, okay? She's not looking at her hands, so then you want to really lift up so that she can reach to the floor, okay? And then drop that leg over. It's not your job to put your feet down for them. For some reason, people forget to put their feet down, okay? Put them in a position where they'll land. As long as their head is safe, you did your job, okay? Don't try to do too much. Don't sacrifice your life, your body, because you're going to be spotting a lot of little people, and a lot of them are not going to care about you, okay? So just make sure that they're in a position to land, and that's all you can worry about. You cannot do any more than that. You cannot do the tumbling for them. Now let's talk about a back tuck. Those are really hard. There we go. Okay, but I lost you guys. So that is, after this, can we discuss one time with older children? Yes, I'd love to. So just to go over, what was going on in that video, just in case you couldn't hear. When you're spotting a back handspring, you want to spot with your dominant side, your dominant arm. No, you want to spot on your dominant side. So if you're a right-handed person, you want to be on the right side of the athlete, okay? And you're going to take your right hand, your dominant hand, and that's going to be on the top of her torso, like above her hips. And then your lesser hand's a good word, is going to be underneath her thighs, okay? And pretty much your dominant hand is going to focus on going upwards, keeping the head and neck protected. And then your lesser hand is going to focus on rotation, okay? So all you really want to focus on is going up with that dominant hand and then around, driving their thighs and legs around, helping them get their feet to the ground. Now, do not spot outside, okay? There's no reason for your shoulder to be here and the tumbler to be out here. That's a great way to tear your shoulder. You always want to spot with as close to your body as possible, okay? You want them on your bicep. If you can have two people, that's even better. kind of again, somebody in like that main base position, the other person in that side base position, same thing. Hand, one arm above the waist, and then one hand underneath the waist, like right underneath the hips, and we're just gonna go up and around, okay? As they get better, again, they can start with you just holding on to them, and then as they get better, as they start understanding that jump, or if they're good about jumping backwards, then you can kind of be like 6 inches away from them, a foot away from them, understanding that you and them understand that they're going to be jumping backwards to you, and then you can help them with that motion, but that's for another day. Cool. So that's what I have on back handsprings. Oh, that only took 30 minutes. Cool. So let's talk about level 1 tumbling with older children new to cheer and tumbling. I'd love to. Type specifically what you want to know. I'll get started and then I'll get deeper into what you want to hear. Okay. So level 1 tumbling, from what I know, I did All-Star for a while. I had my own All-Star gym. Anyway, but that was like 8 years ago. Level 1 tumbling. So we're talking cartwheels, back walkovers, front walkovers, round offs. So really the best thing you need to do for anybody is handstands. Okay, without the solid handstand, their tumbling career is just gonna be dreadful. And so once they have a good handstand, then everything else kind of falls into line. They can kind of, and what I like to do is I like to teach them a principle. I try to show them 4 basic body positions and try to make them understand that all the tumbling you ever want to do is just a combination of those 4 body positions, adding speed and inversion. And so once they kind of wrap their heads around, oh, okay, if I do an arch body and then I kick up to a handstand, then that's a back walkover. Or, oh, if I, reach into my handstand and then bend into an arch, that's my front limber, right? So I like to teach them the 4 body positions first and then let them work their way through it. And so when we're talking about like, how do we get our back walkovers when we don't have mats? What a beautiful question. So first, I like to do leg lifts in a bridge up position. Okay, so they're gonna bridge up and then they literally just have to get one leg up as high as they can. Okay, legs straight, toes pointed, and they need to come back down, tap the floor gently under control, and then go back up. I like to do 5 each leg, right? Actually, I like to do 3 sets of 5 each leg. Once they do their leg lifts, then, not once they do their leg lifts. Once doing leg lifts doesn't seem like a chore anymore. It doesn't seem like a conditioning exercise. It doesn't seem like a workout. It just seems like a warm up. Then we'll graduate. We'll do 1 set of leg lifts. And then what we're going to do are bridge hops. So they're going to get in a bridge up position. They're going to lean forward. So imagine these are their feet. They're going to lean forward with their knees, and then they're going to kick their feet up slightly off the ground, coming back down into a bridge position. Both feet come off the ground, both feet come back down, right? And that's just going to get used to them getting their feet off the ground in that arch position, in that bridge body position. Once they can do that pretty well, and again, that just kind of seems part of their warm-up, right? So let's say we did the leg lifts, 3 sets of 5 for warm-ups for 4 weeks, and you get to week 5 and they're doing or conditioning for 4 weeks, and we get to week 5 and they're kind of breezing through it. That kind of means that they have the musculature now, they developed the muscles that they needed to be proficient, right? That's what the body does, it's adaptation. Once they get that out the way, then you're like, okay, just do 1 set of those. And now we're gonna do bridge hops. And again, 3 sets of 5. It's gonna be a little bit of a mess. For some reason, they forget to keep their arms locked. Remind them to keep their arms locked so they don't land on their neck, they don't fall on their heads, right? 3 sets of 5 again. And then again, in 2-3 weeks, the adaptation doesn't take as long now because the body kind of sees where this is going, right? 2-3 weeks, you see them doing it and it's no longer chaotic. Then you'll have just them do 1 set for warm up, just like they now move to 1 set on the leg lifts. And then what they're going to do are super leg lifts? No, dynamic leg lifts. I just make these names up, right? So then I forget what I call them. But pretty much they're going to do a leg lift and a bridge hop combined. And so they're going to leg lift, they're in their bridge, they're gonna leg lift as high as they can till they can't anymore. And then once they get to that point, they're gonna push off that other leg, kicking their feet up as high as they can, coming back down into a bridge position. Now, let's see, because you said, I'm assuming that you're an all-star gym. I'm assuming that you're an all-star gym. So I will tell you to do this with both legs. Okay. If you're like a competitive high school, I would tell you to do them with both legs. If you are just trying to get a back walkover, then I only like for my college girls, just do the leg that we're trying to get over. I don't need you to get both legs. That's not gonna impact our score sheet at all. Right. So just get your dominant leg and be able to be proficient in that. And then once they can do that, they need to get a back bend. Well, I'm sorry. Back bend, you can kind of work that in like that first. Should I write this down? Are you with me? You got me, Nabel? Let me know. If you want me to write it down, I can. But that's kind of like the lower body half, right? Oh, you're good. Okay, cool. So go back to your notes, and when they're doing the just the leg lifts is a good time. They should also be working on their back bends, and back bends shouldn't be a challenge. Okay. You guys are my age. I talk to my kids and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. But Chrysler used to have this commercial saying wider is better. Okay. That's the easiest way to get your back bend. Have the athlete stand with their feet as wide apart as possible. Okay. Okay. BB stands for back bend. Okay. Feet as wide apart as possible. Next, they need to have their hands up. They need to have their hips forward. I don't even know if this is a problem, but I love coaching it this way. Hips forward, okay? Hands up. Hands up. Okay, now their hips are forward, hands up. Look at your hands. And reach for the ground. Now, this is the easiest way that I've gotten to teach a back bend, but it doesn't mean that it's not dangerous, right? So I tell them that this is the steps, and then I just spot them one by one so that they don't, destroy themselves. But as long as they go through the steps and they're doing this repeatedly, every time we practice, along with their leg lifts, they're gonna get their back bend in no time. So once they have their back bend and they're doing the power, they're called power leg lifts. Once they have their back bends and they're doing their power leg lifts where they're kicking up as high as they can and pushing off their back foot and coming back down to the bridge, then it's time to do kickovers, okay? And a kickover is just when you're in a bridge and you kick over, standing up in a lunge. Now, those are hard. So I try to do elevated kickovers where they'll be in a bridge, but their feet will be elevated onto something above them. Whether that's a panel mat or a box, or even if you have them, if you have a sturdy wall, like a concrete wall, I don't want them to break their toes, but they can kind of just walk up the wall into a bridge position and then do another power leg lift off of the wall till they stand up. Again, as they're doing that leg lift, make sure that they're keeping their arms locked, stretching through their shoulders, and staying tight till they put their feet down on the ground, right? Once they're doing their kickovers from an elevated position, again, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, they'll when you see that they're not struggling to do it anymore, it's time to make things harder, right? So once they're doing their elevated kickovers, bring the elevation down. And once they're doing that elevated kickover and it's no longer a struggle, bring it down until they're ground level. Once they're doing kickovers ground level, if they have a kickover and a back bend, they have a back walkover. They just don't know it, right? So then have them do back bend kickovers. I can put a Panamat against the wall. That's perfect. That's perfect. Panamat against the wall is perfect. Some kids are scared of kicking the wall, which is not necessarily possible, right? So you can put the width of the panel mat along the wall, right? But if they get scared, then turn it long ways, and now they have more distance from the wall. They just have less space to put their feet on. So, different athletes will have different challenges, and you can adjust for that. Once they have their back bend kickover, now we need to make it a back walkover. For that, because that is a little bit scary. What I have them do is I have them start with one leg up. I don't know if you can see it. One leg up, arms up, and then do a back bend with that leg up. And just teach them that they can control their body with one leg on the ground. Because it's just intimidating because they've never had to do it before. And then once they kind of see that and they're good at it, then tell them to continue into a kickover, and they have their back walkover, and there you have it. That's a back walkover. Any other questions? All right. Well, how to build base strength in stunts. Cool. Oh, I have a whole video on this. I'm not gonna play it because of the audio, but I will post it. So let me find it real quick. I have a few things that I like to do when it comes to conditioning and athletes and stuff like that. But the most I like to do the fun ones first because cheer is fun. And so I like to keep it as fun as possible. And then if those solutions don't work, then we do less fun things. But if at all possible, I like to keep it as fun as possible. All right, my favorite waist condition. Here it is. Ooh, that was fast. Sorry guys, give me one moment. My favorite ways to condition. Oh wait, I don't know if you guys can open this. I'm gonna post it and then let me know if you can open it. And if not, I will do something else. So when it comes to conditioning for stunts, it's in the video. I won't take up your time with that, but check out that video. It's like, I don't know, it might be 20 minutes long actually. Yeah, it's only 12 minutes long. My poor laptop cannot keep up with all of this. All right, I found the appropriate link. Sorry about that. And I will share that with you. And then I think we did good today. Oh, she says got it. I'm gonna post the other link just in case you didn't get it. Yeah, because this one looks different. Okay. Well, I hope this served you guys. I hope this is helpful. Next week, I think we're gonna talk about, well, we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. So if you want to send me a personal email or put it in the chat, I'll definitely put a plan together for another solution. And yes, thank you guys for joining. I'm very thankful to have you here. And I'll be on for like another 10 minutes if you guys have any questions. But if not, stay blessed by the best. Peace out.